The neighbors think I'm selling dope,
Welcome to episode 2 of the Dope Garage Bro podcast. This podcast is going to be on alcohol. I'm just going to get right into it. The reason why I want to talk about alcohol is because I quit drinking roughly 2 years ago and my life has never been better. Literally, it's never been better. And I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, but I definitely flirted with it. You know, I'm a bartender, still am to this day. And it's just a lifestyle, you know. You work, after you get out of work, you go, you have a couple drinks, take the edge off with some friends. You know, it's just an endless cycle. And I found myself just tired of that lifestyle, man. Waking up anxious, you know, eating horrible diet, you know, because when you're drinking, the rest follows. You start drinking a lot, you start eating like crap, feeling like crap, and that's just what was happening to me. So I was dating my ex-girlfriend at the time, you know, and our relationship, it was a good relationship, you know, it was, but that's all we would do. We would go out to dinner, we'd drink. We'd go out to the bar, we'd drink. And, you know, it was fun. It wasn't that it wasn't not fun, but there were nights I just think to myself, there's just got to be so much more than this, you know? And a couple times prior before that, I would do 75 hard. I've done 75 hard 4 times. And the last time I did it, I was like, I think after I finish 75 hard, I'm never going to drink again. And, you know, to this day, I still haven't drank since that last 75 hard. But when I decided to start 75 hard was after my trip to Colombia. I went to Colombia with a bunch of my friends and it was such a great time. Oh my God, did we have a great time. And I was drunk the whole time I was there. And it was awesome, okay? But when I got back, I was just like, as soon as I get back, I'm going to start 75 hard and I'm going to get disciplined. You know, I just had my vacation. I had a great time and it's just time to lock in when I get home. So that's exactly what I did. I did 75 hard. You know, I felt like the man. I was feeling really good. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give up drinking for life, you know, and I still feel that way. Sometimes I think about going back to it. I have my days where, you know, I want to drink and it's not because like I'm craving alcohol. It's just because I'm craving that feeling that I would get with, you know, drinking. That nice little buzz. You know, that little loose feeling after you have 2, 3 IPAs. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I couldn't do it no more, man. And I just feel like every time you drink, you are trying to disconnect from yourself. Disconnect to how you're feeling. Disconnect from you. And, you know, I don't know the scientific technical term, but alcohol is from the spirit alcohol. Spirit leaving body. So when you're drinking all the time, you're literally disconnecting from yourself. And the whole point of life is to connect back with yourself. That's why I've really dove deep into meditation. Meditation has been amazing for me. It has been amazing for me. I thought of Dope Garage Bro. You know, I bought a brand new Bronco. I bought a brand new house. And, you know, I think that has a lot to do with sobriety and meditation. When I go into meditation, I visualize what I want and everything has been coming to fruition. Literally everything. And, you know, I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't quit alcohol. No, I'm not saying alcohol's terrible. I'm not. I had a great time drinking. But it's so much better without it. My life is so much better without it. And there's so much time that you have to fill up when you're not drinking. You know, if you go from living a drinking life and then you just stop drinking, it gets really boring. You don't really know what to do with your free time. But there's some beauty in that. You know, you start trying new things, getting back into things you were a kid. For me, it was lacrosse. I started playing with my lacrosse stick again. I started stick handling with my hockey stick. You know, I started being more creative and using ways to fill my time. I joined a rollerblade club called Orlando Blades. that is so much fun. I'm so glad I did that, you know? So I skate, you know, 3 days a week with them guys. And there was just a lot of things I did to fill the time. And it took time, you know? There was a lot of boredom. And I really didn't know what to do with myself. But eventually I filled that boredom with things that I love, like stick handling with my hockey stick, playing with my lacrosse stick, and skating, and honestly creating Dope Garage Bro. It is so fun. I'm having so much fun doing this, you know? And I always said I wanted to start a podcast. You know, even before I thought about Dope Garage Bro, I always wanted to start a podcast. But, you know, I was drinking and like it kind of just took me away from that. That's why I say when you drink all the time, you're disconnecting from yourself. When the whole point of life, again, is to connect back with yourself. And I'm not telling you to quit drinking. I'm not telling you to do that. But if you're someone who has to drink, you know, even if you're drinking 1 day a week, you know, you get foggy for like 3 days. And then by the time you get back to your normal state, you're probably drinking again. So you're just like in a constant separation from self when you're drinking all the time. Now, I'm not a scientist, you know, I'm not super educated on this. So I'm not going to give you like scientific reasons on how alcohol is bad for you. All I know is that giving it up was hard in the beginning. And it wasn't hard like, oh, I wanted to drink. I just couldn't fill the boredom. And once I filled the boredom and started getting into things that I loved when I was a kid and things that I, you know, always wanted to try, always wanted to do, I found that when I stopped drinking, it was super easy, you know? And I think about drinking sometimes. But what works for me is I just say, if I want to drink, I'll drink tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and that might be a day where I'm like, man, I want to drink. And then I just say the same thing to myself. If I want to drink, I'll drink tomorrow. And that's what worked for me, you know? But I still go out a lot. I still go out with all my friends. You know, I go to bars all the time. I'm in bars all the time. And me having I usually drink a lot of NAs, and I've noticed that it's a good conversation piece. Like people will come, can I buy you a drink? I'll be like, yeah, I'll take a Heineken Zero. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take a Heineken Zero, bro. I don't drink. And they'll be like, you don't drink? I'll be like, no, I just, you know, I quit a while back. And then now the conversation starts. And I've noticed that everybody is interested. Everybody is interested when I say I don't drink. I feel like everybody wants to quit that drinks regularly. Every single one of them want to quit. They just don't. And when they find somebody who is doing it, they're like mesmerized by it. They want to ask all these questions. They want to know how I do it. It's just, I've noticed that I get a lot more attention now that I don't drink than when I did. And drinking is fun, dude. It's so fun. It's so fun. I'm not going to lie. It's fun in the moment. But it just really ain't it, man. It ain't it for me, you know? And if you've been thinking about quitting drinking for a while, I suggest you do it, man. Take some time off the sauce, dude. Take some time off the sauce. You'll be shocked what happens. And, you know, you're able to create new things in life to fill up that space that when you were drinking and you were going out, and you could still go out. And I know I said it was hard, but I just have hard days. It's really not hard. You know, it's not hard. When you find things to fill your time, it's really easy, actually. Drinking is just a distraction. You don't really face the things you need to face. I mean, that's at least what I was doing. And, you know, I still have bad days, you know, not even towards the drinking, but I'm able to deal with those a lot better. I'm able to deal with my emotions a lot better. I found that I'm so much more calm. And I don't know if that's the alcohol, the meditation, but I think it's both, you know. And drinking for me was everything, you know, from 18 years old all the way till I was 35. You know, I was drinking. I was in a bar. I was living that life. But, sometimes you just got to hang it up, dude. And I think if you hang it up, if you really hang it up for a year, hang it up for 2 years, try life without it. See how great it can get. You really don't know how smart you are, bro. You really don't know what you're capable of. And I think the world wants us to drink so we don't reach our full potential. And I know that's kind of deep, but I find that very, very true. You watch any sporting event, anything on live TV, there's going to be 3-4 different commercials. There's going to be commercials on alcohol. There's going to be commercials on food. There's going to be commercials on drugs, antidepressants. They're just shoving this stuff down your face. And they want you to bet on sports too. I'm going to do a whole episode on that. They got you guys glued to that. Wasting all your money. Oh, I won this week. Dude, it's just a distraction. Anyways, all that stuff's fixed. I don't bet on any sports. I go to the casino once every 2 years. I don't gamble with my money at all. I think it's just stupid, if I'm being honest. You got all these apps on your phone. They're always pushing bets. Anytime you watch a sporting event, they're pushing booze and they're pushing betting, which all the games are fixed. The house is winning all the time. And they want you to be so wrapped up in that game, in that bet, in that drink, so you don't follow your dreams. And I know that sounds crazy, but I really believe that to be true. They want you faded, man. Whatever way they can get you. The vape, the weed, the alcohol, the betting on sports. Some of these guys, they spend $10,000 or whatever, $5,000 on season tickets. And then they're going to that game every Sunday and they're getting wasted every Sunday. And their whole week is messed up just because of that one day that they bought season tickets to a game that's fixed. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I've never been into sports. I can't name 5 players on the Buffalo Bills. That's not a lie. I can't name 5 players on the Buffalo Sabres. And the people who make fun of me don't know who Andy Frisella is. They don't know who Brad Lee is. They don't know who Tony Robbins is. They don't know who Joe Dispenza is. They don't know who Andy Frisella, if I didn't mention him. They don't know who these big entrepreneurs are that are doing real things. They're only focused on that athlete that's getting paid millions of dollars, and they know every stat about that athlete, but they don't know every stat about their own life. I'm not telling you to watch sports. I do sometimes, but I have no clue what's going on. My dad used to yell at me when I was a kid because I wouldn't watch a Sabres game, or I was a hockey player. So my dad would get mad when I wouldn't watch the Sabres game because he thought I could learn something. And he was probably right. But I just, from a little kid, had no interest in what another man was doing. I just had zero interest in what another man was doing. If my friend's on the ice, I'll have his jersey in every color. If my really good friend is on the ice, I'll have his jersey in every color. I'll be at every game. I'll watch every game. But that's just not the case for me. And I knew that as a little kid. Why would I give a shit what that guy is doing on the ice? He don't know me. I don't know him. I don't care. I never did. What I care about is where I'm headed, not in a selfish way. This is my life. I got one shot at this, and I want to live it to my fullest potential. And I feel like in order to do that, I can't drink alcohol. And maybe you can, maybe you can, but I can't. If you can drink once a month, if you can drink once every 2 months, yeah, go for it, man. You're at a wedding, have a time, have a couple drinks. But if you're drinking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you take off a week because you had a rough weekend, and then you're getting right back into it week 3. I just want you to understand, you're constantly faded, dude, and you're always playing catch up. When if you quit drinking, you quit smoking weed, you quit hitting that vape, you quit all the vices, amazing things could happen, bro. Amazing things could happen. You don't even have to meditate if you don't want to. I know I push that a lot just because it's done a lot for me. But you will find so much out about yourself if you give up all those substances, and life will be, it'll be amazing, dude. Life is amazing. And you don't need to be faded all the time, drunk, to enjoy it, you know? There are some things that have, I don't know if you would call them negative since I've stopped drinking, but since I've stopped drinking, I've noticed that it's really hard for me to get in a relationship with a female. And it's just like the alcohol, the blockers aren't up. You know what I mean? And like when I engage with a girl, like, I don't know even what I'm trying to say, but it's just not there like it was when I was drinking. Like if I was drinking, I'd be like, "What's up, baby? How you doing?" You know, and I still kind of like that, but like it's really hard for me to form a connection with the female. And I don't know if that's a negative thing, because like right now I'm so focused on my business that I really don't have time for women. But, you know, when I was drinking, that's a different story. That's a different story. But my best advice, if you even want my advice, is just hang the drinking up for a while. For a long time, if you can. Go a year, 2 years, and figure out what you really want to do. Now, if you're happy with what you're doing, by all means, you know, keep doing what you're doing. I'm not here to tell you got to quit drinking, you know. But if you're not happy with your life and you're working the job or you think you're meant for more, I think sobriety will do so much for you. It will do so much for you. And like if you have a girlfriend or a wife and like they're drinking a lot, and you know, if that's something you guys do together, you can really thrive together off of that. But I don't think a relationship will really work if one's still drinking heavy and the other one quits. It can, you know, but the person who's not drinking is just going to look to excel in every area. Because like I said, when you're drinking all the time, you're kind of faded, and the drinking fills up that time that you have, that you know, time where you don't know what am I trying to say here? But drinking fills up your time, okay? And when you don't drink, you have so much more time that you're just gonna excel in so many other ways in your life. And I think that's what you need. I know that's what I needed, and I see all these people drinking all the time, dude, and chasing tail. And they're just meant for so much more. Did you ever see that dude who you're just like, wow, this guy could be somebody, you know? He's in the bar, everybody knows him, every girl knows him, you know? He's got a way with women. He's got a way with dudes too, you know? Everybody's just like, he's got that energy, that like alpha energy. Could you imagine if that dude hung up the booze and focused all of that on business or on himself, on self-development, self-growth, what he could do in the world, what he could accomplish? It'd be insane. And we all know people like that. We all know people like that who are stuck in the bar scene, who have just tremendous potential. And they're wasting it sitting behind the pine, bro. And I found myself doing that. You know, I think I'm capable of great things. And I hope you think that about yourself. Drinking just ain't the way, brother. You know, if you could do it once in a while, like I said, by all means, have a drink, brother. Have a drink. You know, there's things I miss. You know, hanging out with the boys, drinking around the fire, having an IPA. It's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Playing a little cornhole, how you doing? It's fun, dude. It's fun. But I found myself with an NA enjoying the moment so much more because I'm so present. I'm so present in that moment. I went to Thailand a couple years ago. Spent the whole trip fucking wasted, dude. Wasted the whole trip, and man, it was a great time. It was a great time. I went with my friend Todd. Great dude. Love Todd. We had an awesome time. He introduced me to that international travel, and I can never thank him enough for that. But last year I went to Thailand again, and I went sober, no booze, didn't drink the whole time I was there. And I was kind of nervous to go to Thailand. How am I going to go to Thailand and not drink? Dude, I went to Thailand, didn't have one beer, and I had the best time. I had the best time. I remember everything. I remember every temple, every beach, every boat ride, every tuk-tuk ride. It was just amazing. And I knew right then and there, like, it hit me one time when I was at a rooftop bar and I'm overlooking Bangkok, and it's just amazing as far as the eye could see buildings. And I was completely sober, and I was like, wow, you really don't need the booze. You don't need it, man. You don't need it. And, you know, I hope this podcast helped you. If you're thinking about quitting drinking, I highly recommend it. And it's not going to be hard, dude. You're going to have hard days, but it's not going to be hard. And the method that I use that works for me is if I want to drink, I'll drink tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, and if I want to drink, I say the same thing. I'll drink tomorrow. And usually by the third day, I'm not even thinking about a drink. Not even thinking about it. So that's what works for me. I hope it works for you. And this podcast was to just help you realize that you don't need alcohol, bro, and everything you need is inside you, and you are capable of great things. So hang it up. Quit the booze. Focus on yourself. Focus on self-development. You know, become comfortable with yourself. Meditate, visualize. Think about what you really want to do. You might not even know what the answer is yet, man. You might not even know what you really want to do. But drinking ain't gonna help you get there. I hope that helps, bro. Thank you for watching the Dope Garage Bro podcast.
I guess the neighbors think I'm selling dope.